Hello everyone, so today I would like to introduce you guys to the French philosopher Albert Camus. Albert Camus was born in France, Algeria. He's born November 7th, 1913 and died in January 4th, 1960. Albert Camus was not only a philosopher, but also a Nobel Prize winner in French literature. He's famously known through his work The Stranger, The Myth of Sisyphus, and The Plague. His idea was first introduced in The Stranger. In The Stranger, the main character Marceau, who does not see the reason of engaging in love, friendship, or even family. As the opening of the novel states, "Maman died today, or yesterday maybe, I don't know." Marceau's inability to act according to social expectation and lack of moral values made him a stranger to the society. Marceau was later on sent to death as he accidentally shot death an Arab man, but also partially at the same time because his lack of values and inability to act as social ideals. Now you might ask, wait, how is this philosophical? In Camus' second book, The Myth of Sisyphus, he then introduced his idea of the absurd. According to Camus, the absurd can be divided into two major points. First, life is meaningless, which leads to the second point that however, one must try their best to find or create meaning in this meaningless world. The absurd lies neither in the world nor in man, but rather the confrontation between both. It is man's longing for reasons and meaning in life, and a silence from the world. Camus also claimed that in this meaningless world, death is the only thing that we can be certain about. In the beginning of The Myth of Sisyphus, Camus pointed out the fundamental of philosophy as there is but only one truly serious philosophical problem, that is, suicide. Judging whether life is or is not worth living, that is the fundamental question of philosophy. Now you might think, oh, Camus is an existentialist like Sartre Nietzsche. I would say this statement is partially correct, as similar to existentialism, the absurd acknowledged the inevitable death, the absence of afterlife, and the absurd of religious system. The reason why I say it's partially right, because even though Camus believes that death is inescapable, he also believes that one should still live the best out of it. The absurd is not only the realization of the irrational and the meaninglessness, but rather willing to live with the conscience that life indeed has no meanings and orders. It is up to us to create meaning in life. This idea is illustrated in great details in the actual myth of Sisyphus. The actual myth talks about Sisyphus, who was punished in his afterlife by God, that he had to keep rolling a giant rock uphill for the rest of eternity. However, whether he's about to reach the top, the rock rolls back and he had to start it all over again. Even though this might seem like an endless torture, Camus said, "It is during that return, that pause, that Sisyphus interests me. That is the hour of consciousness." To Camus, it is not the punishment that condemned Sisyphus, but rather it is his awareness and consciousness of the endless repeated act that condemned him. However, later on Camus said, at each of those moments when he leaves the heights and gradually sinks, he is superior to his fate. He is stronger than his rock. The lucidity that was to constitute his torture at the same time crowned his victory. By embracing this conscience of endless trial, which also symbolizes the meaninglessness of life, and willing to go against logic and revolt, then one will finally arrive to the absurd freedom. And it's in those times, his fate belongs to him. Willingness to live in an irrational and meaningless world and create our own meaning makes fate a human matter.